The mining station floated in the cold, dark space like a rusty can. Its name was Drexel Station, but most people just called it the Dump. Built long ago and left to rot, it had become a place where broken ships, lost cargo, and unwanted people ended up. Thieves, smugglers, and mercenaries walked its metal halls. No one cared for rules here. No one cared for the weak. Behind the cargo bay, in a dark alley full of broken machines and leaking pipes, a small creature moved quietly. She was skinny, covered in dust, with ripped cloth tied around her tiny body. Her skin was light purple. Her arms were long and thin, and her glowing yellow eyes searched the trash piles for anything edible. Her name was Kiri, but no one knew that. To the station's people, she was just the scrap rat or trash girl. They laughed when they saw her eat moldy food from the ground. Some threw rocks at her for fun. Others didn't even see her at all. Kiri didn't speak. She hadn't spoken in a long time. Not since the ship crash. Not since her family. She shook her head and focused on the food. A half-eaten protein bar dropped by a careless worker lay near a broken crate. Kiri crawled closer, sniffed it, then quickly grabbed it and shoved it into her mouth. High above, on a metal walkway, a human watched. His name was Jace Rylan, a repair tech who worked in a corner shop fixing loaders, bots, and old tools. He was tall, with rough hands and short brown hair. A faded jacket hung on his shoulders, and oil stains covered his pants. Most days, he kept to himself. But today something caught his eye. He had seen the little alien before, always from far away. But now, he was closer. Close enough to see the way her hands shook. Close enough to see her ribs through her thin skin. She's just a kid, he muttered to himself. Other humans walked by the alley without stopping. Some laughed. Others looked away. No one cared. Jace didn't move for a long time. Then, quietly, he walked back to his workshop. The next day, the girl returned to the same alley. She didn't know why. Maybe it was habit. Maybe it was hunger. But this time, something was different. A clean, sealed food packet was placed on top of an old crate. It hadn't been thrown away. It had been left there carefully. Kiri froze. Her eyes darted left and right. A trap? Slowly, she crawled to the packet. She sniffed it, poked it, and waited. Nothing happened. Then she tore it open and ate fast. So fast she almost choked. From behind a wall, Jace watched. He didn't come close. He didn't say anything. He just watched her eat, then walked away. Day after day, Jace left food. Day after day, Kiri came back. She still didn't speak, but she no longer ran when she saw the food. She waited until Jace left, then she ate. One night. Jace brought something different, a small blanket. He placed it beside the crate under a pipe to block the wind. Then he left. That night, Kiri curled under the blanket for the first time in months. It was warm. She slept without fear. One morning, Jace returned to the alley earlier than usual, but Kiri wasn't there. He frowned. Had something happened? Then he saw her, sitting on the crate, waiting for him. She didn't smile, but her glowing eyes looked at him, not through him. It was the first time she had ever looked directly at his face. Jace raised a hand. "Hey," he said softly. Kiri blinked. Then slowly, she raised one of her small hands. That tiny wave hit him harder than a punch. He began talking to her in small words. "What's your name? Where are you from? Do you have family?" She never answered, but she listened. Sometimes she nodded. Sometimes she tilted her head like she was trying to understand. One day, Jace brought an old data pad. He showed her pictures, stars, planets, ships. She watched with wide eyes. Then she pointed. It was a star map of the Zalara system, a system that had been destroyed years ago during a civil war. Jace didn't think much of it, but Kiri kept pointing. "Home," she whispered. Jace froze. You can talk?" Kiri looked scared and hugged her arms. "Hey, it's okay," Jace said quickly. "You don't have to talk if you don't want to." But the word echoed in his mind. Home. That night, Jace went back to his shop and opened an old storage chest. Inside was a dusty, round drone with a faded logo. Iris, a battlefield AI he used during his time in the military. He charged it up and activated it. "Online," the drone buzzed. "Combat support system Iris reporting status?" "Not combat," Jace said. "I need help with someone. She's a child. She's not human." The drone's eye blinked. "Understood." He brought Iris with him the next day. When Kiri saw the drone, she backed away. Jace held up a hand. "It's okay. She's a friend." Iris scanned Kiri from a distance. Species, Zalaran. Age, approximately 9 human years. Health, malnourished. Trauma signs present. Jace raised an eyebrow. "Zalaran? I thought their planet was gone." Iris paused. "Genetic markers match royal bloodline. Subject may be of noble birth." Jace stared at the little girl sitting on the crate, biting her lip and watching them with fear in her eyes. "Noble?" he whispered. "You're telling me she's a princess?" He didn't tell her what the drone said. Not yet. But now, he noticed things he hadn't before. The way she sat, back straight, careful hands, the way she listened, like every word mattered. The way she sometimes stared at the stars, as if she remembered them. One day, while Jace repaired, a broken loader nearby, a group of thugs came into the alley. They kicked the crate where Kiri sat. One laughed and grabbed her by the arm. "Get lost, rat!" Before Jace could move, Kiri twisted her body and slipped out of his grip like water. She didn't fight back, but her eyes flashed with something sharp, something proud. She stood tall, taller than she was. The thug hesitated, confused by her stare. Then Jace shouted, "Leave her alone!" The men looked at him, laughed, and walked off. Jace walked to her and knelt down. "You okay?" She nodded. He gave her a small, real smile. "You're braver than most people I know." For the first time, Kiri smiled back. It was small, it was soft, but it was real. Late that night, Jace sat in his shop with Iris floating nearby. "She's not safe here," he said. "If someone finds out who she is—" "Agreed," Iris replied. "Her identity must be protected. You should relocate her or contact authorities." "Authorities?" Jace scoffed. "The same ones who let kids eat garbage? No thanks." He looked at the old star map on his wall. The Zalara system blinked faintly in the corner. "She said that's home, but it's gone. The whole royal family. They were all killed. Weren't they?" "Reports say so," Iris said. "But survivors are possible." Drexel Station didn't sleep. It groaned and rattled all night with the sounds of machines, drunk workers, and shouting deals. But inside Jace Ryland's repair shop, it was quiet. Kiri sat on a workbench, her legs swinging slowly. She wore a clean shirt now, too big but soft. Her purple skin looked less dry. Her eyes still held sadness, but they weren't filled with fear like before. Jace walked over holding a tray. On it was warm food, a small juice pouch, and a flat tool, like a toy. "You can eat while you learn," he said, placing the tray next to her. Kiri looked at the tool. It was a datapad set to child mode. She touched the screen gently, and it showed pictures of letters, words, and stars. She didn't say much, but she was learning fast. Jace smiled. "You're smarter than anyone I've met on this junk station." The AI drone, Iris, hovered near them. Its eye light blinked softly. Language recognition increasing. Intelligence. Advanced. She is adapting rapidly. Kiri blinked and pointed at the picture of a spaceship on the pad. Ship, she said slowly. Jace nodded. Yes, that's right. Ship, she pointed again. My ship. That made Jace pause. You remember your ship? Kiri's face became serious. Red floor, white seat, bang, fire. She touched her head slowly. Fell. Jace leaned forward. You crashed? She nodded once. Iris hovered closer and spoke. Memory pattern suggests partial trauma recall. Her escape pod may still be on the station. Jace looked at Kiri. Do you remember where it fell? She hesitated, then pointed to a section on a map Jace had shown her earlier. It was the lower junk zone, where broken ships and trash were buried under old cargo. Jace's heart raced. We'll find it, he said. We'll find your pod. That evening, Jace locked his shop early. Kiri wore a small backpack filled with snacks, water, and a blanket. Jace carried his toolkit and wore a shoulder lamp. Iris flew ahead, scanning for danger. They entered the junk sector through a service hatch. It smelled of rust, oil, and old metal. Pipes hissed and floors groaned. The deeper they went, the colder and darker it became. Kiri moved carefully, her small hands helping her climb through tight spots. She moved like she had been here before. After an hour, they reached a wide chamber full of crushed cargo, ship wings, and broken escape pods. There, Kiri said quietly. Her hand pointed to a half-buried shape. It was a small escape pod, blackened. With fire cracked on the side, Iris scanned it. Model, Zalaran Royal Pod. Code, match, confirmed. Jace walked closer. The hatch was half open. Inside, dust covered everything, but he saw a seatbelt with blood on it, a child's broken bracelet, and a burned flag. He pulled out the flag. A symbol shone through the ash, a golden star with wings. Iris spoke again. Confirmed. Royal seal. Of the House of Velian, the girl is from the ruling family of the former Zalaran Empire. Jace turned to Kiri, who stood quietly near the pod. She stared at the symbol. Her lips moved. Papa, she whispered. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't cry. She reached out and gently touched the broken flag. Jace's throat tightened. He knelt beside her. Your family, they didn't make it, did they? Kiri shook her head slowly. Bad men, she whispered. Fire. Loud. Mama hid me. Then, gone. Iris added, historical data confirms the royal family was attacked during a rebellion. Their palace was destroyed. No survivors reported until now. Jace sat back and stared at the girl. You're a princess. Kiri looked at him and said nothing, but she didn't deny it. As they returned through the tunnels, Jace kept thinking, if someone knew Kiri was alive, someone dangerous, they would come for her. That meant he had to move fast. Back in the workshop, Jace placed the royal flag in a sealed box. He checked the pod's beacon unit and found it cracked. With his tools, he might be able to repair it and send a signal. Maybe loyal Zalarans would answer. But before he could start, there was a knock on the door. Not a light knock. A hard, angry pounding. Jace motioned to Kiri. Hide! Now! She climbed into the small wall space behind a tool cabinet, a hiding spot he had built just for her. He opened the door slowly. Wexlin, a local thug leader, stood outside with two rough-looking guards. His metal teeth glinted under the lights. His long coat was stained and his eyes were cold. Evening, Rylan, he said, pretending to smile. Heard you been feeding rats. Jace shrugged. I feed strays all the time. Keeps them out of the machines. Wexlin stepped inside without asking. He looked around, sniffed the air. See? Thing is, someone saw you sneaking around the junk zone with a little alien girl. Jace crossed his arms. Lots of aliens around here. This one's different. Expensive blood. Rumors say royal. Jace tried not to react. Sounds like a fairy tale. Wexland chuckled. Oh, maybe. But there are folks who'd pay heavy credits for that kind of cargo. He leaned in close. You see something like that, you come to me first, understand? Jace met his eyes. Yeah, sure. Wexland looked around one more time, then he pointed. At the wall. This place smells like secrets. Then he left. Jace locked the door tight and dropped to one knee. It's okay, he whispered. He's gone. Kiri crawled out, her eyes wide. He wants me. Yes, Jace said quietly, but I won't let him take you. That night, Jace worked non-stop. He cleaned the beacon module from the escape pod. With help from Iris, he recharged its power core and connected it to a portable transmitter. If we activate this, Iris warned, it may alert loyal forces, but it may also be intercepted by enemies. Jace looked at Kiri, who stood quietly. Beside him, she had her blanket around her shoulders. It's her only chance, he said. Do it. Iris beeped. Signal sending. A soft hum filled the room. Now we wait, Jace whispered. The next day, Jace went to buy parts from the market. He returned to find the workshop door open. His heart dropped. He rushed inside. The shop was wrecked. Tools thrown everywhere. The cabinet smashed open. Kiri was gone. Iris! Jace shouted. The drone activated from under a shelf. I recorded the attackers. Playback now. The video showed Wexland's men breaking in, knocking Jace's assistant bot offline and grabbing Kiri while she kicked and screamed. Where'd they take her? Jace growled. Location match, Wexland's base in Sector 9. Jace grabbed a stun baton, a blaster, and packed his toolkit. We're getting her back, no matter what. Sector 9 was worse than the rest of the station, full of broken walls, leaking pipes, and dangerous people. Jace moved fast with Iris scanning ahead. He used old tunnels from his military days, sneaking past guards. He reached a locked door. From inside, he heard crying. He blasted the lock and kicked the door open. Inside, Kiri sat in a cage. Her face was bruised, her arms tied. Jace! She cried. Hang on! Guards charged in. Jace stunned the first and tackled the second. Iris fired a shock beam, knocking down a third. Jace broke the cage lock and lifted Kiri in his arms. You came, she whispered. Of course I did. They ran. Alarms rang across the sector, but they made it. Back in the workshop, Jace gave Kiri water and wrapped her in a blanket. Iris beeped. New signal received. Incoming vessel. ID code. Loyalist Zalaran ship. Jace smiled. Help is coming. Kiri looked up at him, her voice small. Promise? Jace nodded. I promise. Drexel Station groaned again as a cargo ship left the dock, shaking the walls of Jace's workshop. Sparks fell from a loose pipe overhead, but inside the small room the air was quiet. Too quiet. Kiri sat on the floor, legs crossed, eyes staring, at the old Zalaran flag Jace had placed on the wall. The golden star with wings glowed softly under the lamp. Her small hands rested in her lap, but her fingers twitched. She was remembering. The screams, the fire, the smoke, her parents shouting as the ship took off, her mother's tearful face pressing the emergency button that sent her away alone. Jace sat nearby, checking the beacon's power level again. It was still working. A signal had gone out. A ship was coming. But they didn't know if it was friend or enemy. Iris hovered near the ceiling, scanning station traffic. Unknown vessel approaching, Iris reported. No weapons detected. Flight path matches old Zalaran loyalist signal codes. Jace raised his eyebrows. You think it's really them? Possible, but not confirmed. Jace looked at Kiri. We're not taking chances. We'll meet them. In the junk sector. If it's a trap, we can escape easier from there. Kiri nodded once. She didn't speak much, but she understood everything now. They left through the back door, using narrow tunnels Jace had mapped over the years. They wore heavy coats and dirt-covered boots to blend in. Iris flew low, lights dim. When they reached the deep junk sector again, They waited behind a wall of old ship parts. Above them, something moved. A sleek black ship hovered down silently. Unlike the old broken crafts around it, this one was smooth and polished. Gold lines shimmered across its hull like a royal tattoo. Iris beeped. Confirmed. Zalaran Loyalist craft. Identity match. Captain Rovarin. Kiri gasped softly. Jace looked at her. You know that name? She nodded slowly. He was Papa's guard. The ship's door opened. A tall figure stepped out. He was Zalaran, too. Skin light blue, wearing black and silver armor with gold trim. His eyes glowed white. He moved with calm, sharp grace like a blade. Kiravellian, he said, using the Zalaran form of her name. Kiri stepped out from hiding. Rovarin dropped to one knee, his fist pressed to the ground in a respectful bow. My princess, he said. Kiri didn't speak. She just looked at him, tears filling her glowing eyes. Jace stepped forward, unsure. Rovaran looked at him and gave a respectful nod. You are the human who protected her? I just did what anyone should, Jace said. No, Rovarine replied. Not anyone, only the brave. Inside the ship, Kiri sat beside Rovarine while Jace stood near a window, looking out. The warrior poured a cup of warm Zalaran tea and offered it to her. Your mother and father were the last true rulers of Zalara, Rovarine said. They were kind, fair, and wise. When the traitors attacked, we fought. But the betrayal was deep. The palace fell. We thought all were lost. He looked at her with deep sorrow. But now you live. That means hope lives. Kiri looked down at her hands. I'm not strong, she whispered. I'm just a scared girl. You survived, he said. That is strength. Jace watched them silently. A part of him felt like an outsider, but another part was proud. He had helped save something big, something important. Rovarin turned to Jace. We must remove her from this station. It is dangerous here. Too many eyes, too many greedy hands. Jace nodded. I agree, but there's something you should see first. Jace led Rovarin back to the escape pod. The broken metal walls, the cracked seat, the torn straps, all were left untouched. Rovarin stepped inside and picked up a shattered bracelet. This was her mother's, he said softly. Then, he touched a small panel on the wall. It lit up. Jace blinked. I thought the power was dead. Royal escape pods have hidden backups. A small hologram blinked on. It showed a recording. The Queen of Zalara, Kiri's mother, appeared. Her voice was gentle but hurried. If this is found, please protect our daughter. She carries our name, our blood, and our future. Hide her, and if she returns, let her rise. The message ended. Rovarine stood in silence for a long time. Then he turned to Jace. You are part of this now, human, whether you like it or not. Jace nodded once. I'm in. But while they were inside the pod, someone else was watching. Up, on a tower made of scrap metal, Wexlin looked through a dirty scope, so the girl was real royalty. And now she had a ship. That meant power and credits. He grinned and pulled out a comm unit. Call the slavers. Tell them I've got a royal prize. Alive and confirmed. Later that night, Rovarin's ship stayed hidden in the junk zone. Inside, Jace sat on a bench, while Kiri curled up under a blanket. Rovarin was checking data, scanning messages from other Loyalist survivors. They were scattered across the stars, hiding after the fall of the Empire. Some had formed small groups. Others lived in secret. But if they know the princess is alive, Rovarine said, they will come. Iris beeped. Alert! Motion detected outside the ship. Jace stood quickly. Who? Before Iris could answer, an explosion rocked the hull. They were under attack. Wexlin's men poured out from the shadows, over 15 of them, armed with shotguns and nets. Smoke bombs exploded near the ship. "Bring the girl out!" Wexlin shouted. "You got 3 seconds before we burn this pretty ship down." Roverin armed his sword, a glowing energy blade that hummed in his hand. Jace grabbed his stun baton. Kiri stood frozen, her eyes wide. Roverin turned to her. "You must stay hidden. You are the future." Kiri looked at Jace. "You'll come back?" He smiled. "Always." Then the two men rushed outside. The battle was loud and messy. Smoke filled the air. Roveran moved like a dancer with a blade, slicing weapons and kicking down attackers. Jace fought like a brawler, swinging his baton, ducking under punches, using tools as weapons. Iris fired shock beams from above, stunning 2 men at once. But there were too many enemies. Jace got hit and fell. Roveran was surrounded. Kiri watched through the window. She saw Jace fall, blood on his head. Something snapped inside her. She stepped out. Her small voice rang loud. "Stop!" Everyone turned. Wexlin laughed. "The princess shows herself." But then Kiri lifted her hand, and a pulse of golden energy exploded from her skin, knocking Wexlin and 3 men backward. Everyone froze. Even Roverin stared in shock. "She has the gift," he whispered. "The old royal blood power." Kiri stood tall, eyes glowing like stars. "Leave," she said, and the ground shook. Wexlin, now bleeding and scared, ran. His men followed. Later, in the quiet after the battle, Jace woke up with a bandage on his head. Kiri sat beside him, holding his hand. "You came out," he said weakly. She nodded. "You needed me." Roverin bowed deeply. "My princess, your power has awakened. The throne is not lost." Kiri said nothing. She just held Jace's hand tighter. Far above Drexel Station, a message was sent across space. "Princess Kiravel of House Velian lives. The royal blood has returned." Across the galaxy, hidden loyalist ships received the signal, and they began to move. The wrecked alley behind Drexel Station smelled of smoke and oil. The fight had left its marks everywhere: burned crates, crushed pipes, and shattered glass. But the worst damage was inside the small, hidden workshop. Jace Rylan lay on a makeshift bed, his head wrapped in bandages. The pain throbbed, but he didn't care. His eyes were fixed on the door. Kiri sat quietly nearby. She held a small cup of water, her glowing eyes filled with worry. For the first time, she spoke more than just single words. "Jace, hurt." He tried to smile. "I'm okay. You saved me. That's what matters." Kiri's voice trembled. "I scared. They come back?" Jace nodded. "Maybe, but we're ready." Outside, the sounds of the station carried on. To most, nothing had changed. But the fight had sent ripples through Drexel's underworld. Wexlin's defeat was a blow to the local gangs. They whispered stories of the strange little princess who could send enemies flying with a touch. Jace knew those whispers made his enemies nervous. They would return, stronger. Days passed. Kiri grew stronger, no longer hiding behind blankets or fear. She trained with Roverin, learning to control her strange powers, the glowing light that came from her hands, the energy pulses that could shake walls. Jace watched quietly. He wasn't a warrior. His skills were machines, tools, and fixing things. But he knew he could help another way. Roverin approached one evening, his armor polished and his face serious. "The Loyalists are gathering. Ships from hidden places are moving toward the outer rim. They want to restore the Empire, to fight the traitors." Jace nodded. "And Kiri? Is there hope?" Roverin said. "But she needs protection and guidance, and allies." Kiri stood nearby, listening. She looked at Jace. "Why you stay?" she asked quietly. Jace smiled. "Because I believe in you. Not just as a princess, but as someone who can change this galaxy. Her eyes softened. But peace was short. One night, the station's loudspeakers cracked to life with a rough voice. "Attention, all personnel! This is Captain Vex of the Outer Rim Enforcement Fleet. You are ordered to surrender the girl known as Princess Kiravel. Resistance will be met with force." Jace clenched his fists. "They know she's here," he said. "We have to move. Now." Rovarine agreed. "We must take her to the Loyalist warship waiting in orbit." Kiri looked scared, but nodded. The escape was dangerous. The station was crawling with enemies now, mercenaries, bounty hunters, and the Outer Rim's soldiers. Jace and Rovarine fought side by side, while Kiri used her powers to block their path. Jace carried Kiri when she grew tired. The small princess whispered her thanks, but her eyes showed fear. At the docking bay, the Loyalist warship waited, black and sleek. With golden markings, they raced inside as alarms blared. Once aboard, Kiri looked out at the stars. "This ship is home?" she asked. Rovarine smiled. "It is now." But the warship's captain, a stern woman named Commander Lyra, was not. "Pleased. This princess is a symbol," she said coldly. "But she is young and untrained. We need more than hope. We need strategy." Jace stepped forward. "She's stronger than you think," Lyra glared. "And you? A human? Why should I trust you?" Jace met her gaze. "Because I fought to protect her. Because I believe she can unite more than just your fleet. She can unite humans and Zalarans." The room was silent. Kiri looked at Jace, her eyes shining. Commander Lyra finally nodded. "Very well, but she will be tested." In the days that followed, Kiri faced many challenges. She trained with soldiers, learned war tactics, and listened to stories of her ancestors. Jace helped where he could, repairing machines, teaching the crew about human ingenuity and quick thinking. Slowly, she grew from the frightened scrap eater into a leader. Her small hands no longer trembled when she gave orders. Her voice carried strength. One night, as the warship prepared to jump into enemy space, Kiri stood beside Jace. "Will you stay?" she asked. Jace looked at the stars ahead. "I wouldn't miss it for anything." She smiled, the princess and the human ready to face the galaxy together. The Zalaran warship floated silently above Drexel Station, its black hull glowing faintly with gold lines. Inside the command room, Kiri stood tall, her purple skin smooth and glowing under the soft lights. She wore a simple but elegant uniform that marked her as the rightful heir of House Velian. Beside her stood Jace Rylan. Though he still wore his worn jacket and oil-stained pants, there was a new calmness in his eyes. He was no longer just a mechanic or repairman. He was protector, friend, and something more. The room buzzed with activity. Loyalist officers moved quickly, preparing the ship for its first jump toward the heart of the lost Zalaran Empire. News of the princess's return had spread fast, and many had joined their cause, but the path ahead was dangerous. The traitors, who had overthrown Kiri's family, ruled much of the old empire, and they would not surrender easily. Kiri turned to the crowd of officers and soldiers gathered before her. Her voice was steady and strong. "Thank you for believing in me," she said. "I was once a frightened girl, lost and alone. But with your help, and with Jace's, I have found my strength. Together, we will restore justice. We will rebuild what was broken, and we will bring peace to our people." The room erupted in applause. Jace smiled quietly, proud but humble. Later, in the quiet of the command room, Kiri approached Jace. Her eyes shone with both hope and doubt. "Why did you believe in me when no one else did?" she asked. Jace shrugged, a small smile playing on his lips. "Because I saw you. Not a scrap-eater, not a lost child, but a princess. And because I believe every person deserves a chance to rise above their past." Kiri's smile grew. "You taught me to be brave," she said softly. "And you taught me that hope can come from the smallest places." The warship jumped into faster-than-light travel, stars stretching into lines outside the windows. As they approached the Empire's heart, they faced their first real test. Enemy warships appeared on the sensors, dark and menacing, ready to destroy the Loyalist fleet. Commander Lyra ordered all hands to battle stations. Kiri stood beside Jace, calm but alert. "This is our fight," she said. "For our home. For those we lost." The battle was fierce. Zalaran's ships fired energy beams, dodged missiles, and maneuvered with skill. Jace worked in the engineering bay, repairing damaged systems faster than anyone expected. Kiri coordinated the fleet's movements, her voice clear and commanding over the comms. Her powers, bright energy pulses, helped shield ships from heavy fire. Despite the enemy's strength, the Loyalists held their ground. After hours of fighting, the enemy fleet retreated. Cheers echoed through the ship. Rovarine approached Kiri and Jace, his face proud. "You have earned your place, Princess," he said. Jace nodded. "This is only the beginning," Kiri said. "But we will win. Together." In the weeks that followed, Kiri and Jace worked side by side. She learned leadership. He shared human ingenuity and courage. They inspired the crew to hope for a better future. Slowly, the galaxy began to take notice. More systems sent aid, more ships joined the Loyalist cause, and Kiri knew this was only possible because one human saw her, not as a feral child, but as a princess. One evening, as stars shone outside, Kiri and Jace stood on the ship's observation deck. She turned to him. "Will you stay?" she asked again. Jace smiled. "This is my home now." The princess and the human stood side by side, ready to face whatever the future held.